Cities across the U.S. are bracing for another night of potential protests following the decision to not charge the 3 officers with the killing of Breonna Taylor. In Louisville, an arrest has been made in connection with the shooting of the 2 officers during a protest yesterday. Daryl Forges has the latest.
From Louisville to Los Angeles, Atlanta, and New York, thousands of people congregated to protest the decision not to charge 3 officers in connection to the death of Breonna Taylor. Today, the attorney for Taylor's mother calling out the Kentucky Attorney General.
Daniel Cameron failed. He needs to learn the law of self-defense in Kentucky because, as he stated it yesterday, he was off base.
It's been more than 6 months after Taylor was shot to death by Louisville police officers executing a warrant. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear reiterated a call for more details regarding the decision to be released.
I trust the people of Kentucky with the truth, but they need to be able to see the truth, read the evidence, look over what grand jury may have seen or the investigators or the attorney general looked at.
Amid the unrest in Louisville on Wednesday night, there were 127 arrests and some looting, according to the interim Louisville Metro Police Chief. 2 officers responding to a report of gunfire were also shot and are expected to recover. 26-year-old Lorenzo Johnson has been arrested for that shooting. A countywide curfew that started at 9 last night continues tonight.
We adjust our response every night based on the conditions we've seen. I would expect you to see the response tonight very similar to the response you saw last night.
In Louisville, Kentucky, I'm Daryl Forges.
Governor Greg Abbott proposed new legislation earlier today that could make certain actions during protests a felony. This comes after protests erupted across the country this summer after the death of George Floyd in June.
The Constitution does not provide the right to riot, to rob, to loot, to set fires, to physically harm anyone or anything.
If approved, the legislation could make actions such as destroying property, blocking hospital entrances, and aiding and abetting an organization that takes place in a riot a felony.
But while Governor Abbott was in Dallas today making those comments, he was also dealing with a lawsuit, one filed by his own party. In an unusual move, the Texas Republican Party has filed a lawsuit against Abbott to stop the extended early voting days. He ordered early voting to begin October 13th, 6 days earlier than normal. He declared the move a protection to voters worried about going to the polls during the COVID pandemic. Republicans say Abbott did not have the authority to make that decision. There has been no comment from the governor's office.
Well, Edison, the past couple of nights have been a little cooler, but not cool enough.
I know, and I'm so ready for this Texas heat to finally take a break. Let's check in with our weather anchor, Jordan Miller, to see if we'll be getting any break anytime soon. Jordan?
Thanks, Michaela and Edison. I'm right there with you. I'm so tired of this hot weather, and I might have some good news for you as far as a break with hot temperatures. But before I get to that, let's go ahead and look at our current conditions for lovely Denton, Texas. As you can see right now, we're at 79 degrees outside, feeling just that with 3-mile-per-hour wind speeds and partly cloudy skies. Moving into tonight's forecast, we're going to cool down just a little bit, down to 71, keeping those slow wind speeds and clear skies. Moving into tomorrow, we're going to jump back up into the mid-70s with 75 degrees outside and a little bit faster wind speed at 10 miles per hour, but clear skies all day long. Now, if you want to hear about that possible cold front, you'll have to stick with us, because right now that's all I have for weather. Back to you, Michaela.
Thank you, Jordan. Now, with the temperatures looking high, the good news, UNT's COVID-19 cases are staying relatively low. Nathan Mayer has more on that story. Nathan?
Thanks, Michaela. As the fall semester progresses, the COVID-19 cases here at UNT have begun to fall, with only 37 active cases being reported, and the university saying that there are 12 less cases than previous weeks. With hand sanitizer spread around throughout campus and social distancing being practiced in every room, the university is taking the necessary precautions to prevent any outbreaks on campus. The UNT's guidelines align with those provided by local, state, and federal government. And the Student Health and Wellness Center here behind me is advising students who aren't experiencing any symptoms to still get tested if they have come in contact with anyone who has tested positive. Please be sure to reach out to the COVID hotline at 844-366-5892 or email them at covid@unt.edu. That's all I have for you guys tonight. I'll send it back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Nathan. Flu season is right around the corner, and with COVID-19 still an issue, experts say that now more than ever, it's important to get your flu shot. Students can take advantage of the services provided by UNT's Health and Wellness Center here on campus. Flu season begins around October and peaks between December and February, but because of changes wrought by COVID-19, now is the time to start thinking about when, how, and where you'll get immunized against flu this year. UNT's Health and Wellness Center is providing free COVID tests and flu shots to students on campus.
So flu season, we typically see an increase in health resources being utilized as people are getting sick. It's upper respiratory time. So a lot of people are seeking medical treatment. Right now, because of the ongoing COVID pandemic, it's even more important that we try and use those medical resources as wisely and efficiently as we can. So one way that students can help us out with that is getting their flu vaccination now to try and prevent a serious case of influenza that might put them in the hospital or require other additional medical resources. So flu shots are free for students. They're covered by the medical services fee that students pay as part of their tuition.
Emergency rooms and urgent care clinics are often flooded with flu patients during winter months. Getting a flu shot can prevent those visits and thereby prevent commingling of flu and COVID-19 patients who can infect each other and spread their viruses to other ER patients.
Students can also take a couple other steps. A lot of people are a little hesitant to get a flu vaccine. Maybe they've had a bad reaction to it or they're unable to get it. So we would encourage those folks to make sure everyone around them gets it, because we want to build what we call herd immunity. So the more people who get vaccinated, the more likely it is it's going to protect our sensitive populations, like people who are immunocompromised, women who are pregnant, and some other categories of folks who are a little bit higher risk for flu as well as COVID.
Make sure to follow UNT's Health and Wellness Center on their social medias at UNTSHWC to stay up to date on testing times and locations. With COVID-19, the flu, and even the common cold all part of our health concerns, we know keeping our hands clean and sanitized is a real help. ntTV's Kayla Holt is out in one of our DCTA stops with more on what they're doing to keep us safe. Kayla?
The Denton County Transportation Authority is making life a whole lot easier for their passengers. By the end of this month, the DCTA will be providing touchless hand sanitizer dispensers on all buses. The dispensers are easy to use and will help riders maintain proper hygiene to keep themselves and other passengers safe. The CDC recommends that passengers sanitize their hands when arriving and leaving their stop. We at UNT urge riders to stay at home if they are feeling sick. For ntTV News, I'm Kayla Holt.
Thank you, Kayla. Well, I'm glad for safer transportation. And as we continue this semester, coming up, UNT's president gives some updates.
Then stay tuned for info about an online security breach here in Denton. Stay with us.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time
COVID-19 has brought us all many firsts, and today another one. The first virtual State of University has been delivered by President Neil Sumatresk. During his 30-minute address, he outlined the challenges we face as a university and the ways in which we are meeting them. He outlined the accomplishments we've achieved, such as becoming a minority-serving and Hispanic-serving institution, as well as graduating a record number of students. Sumatresk underscored UNT's commitment to making education affordable and to make the campus an even more diverse and welcoming university.
With most classes online this fall, students are relying on Wi-Fi now more than ever, but there have been a bit of a problem for some. Marjorie Morales has more on the situation.
The problem is the Wi-Fi connection, which can be a big problem when you're are we live?
Into her dorm in Curl Hall, her internet connection has been bad. 2 weeks ago, the Wi-Fi completely shut down on her.
I went to class Thursday morning at 9 a.m. and came back and the Wi-Fi still wasn't working.
So she decided that it was time to go home for the weekend to work on her assignments. But when she returned to campus, the issue had not been fixed.
And I got back Sunday and it still wasn't connecting.
She says after further assistance, she was able to connect to the Wi-Fi, but the service continues to be spotty, and she worries that she will continue to be disconnected during her Zoom classes. UNT Associate Director for Housing, James Fairchild Jr., says that there have been challenges with the Wi-Fi.
Those have really been addressed through the support service that Apogee is our internet provider provides to students. It's a 24/7 service.
He says it's not unusual for it to happen during the beginning of the semester. Lewis did reach out for help and was told that they were aware of the issues, but they did not know when they would be fixed. Lewis hopes the issue can fully be resolved or that students may connect their own Wi-Fi routers to their dorm rooms.
The Associate Director of Housing told us that the problems have been fixed, but students and parents of the Mean Green Family Facebook group are saying that they're still having issues. Michaela, back to you.
Thank you, Marjorie. Let's hope that Wi-Fi issue gets resolved soon, and let's hope our temperatures drop pretty soon, too.
I'm there with you, Michaela, but one can only hope. Jordan, where's the fall weather at?
Well, Edison, the fall weather is on its way later in the week, but before I get to that, let's go ahead and take a look at our conditions across North Texas. As you can see here, pretty much everyone is in the same boat that we are. High 70s, low 80s temperature, maybe a little bit warmer over in Bowie and Graham, but let's go ahead and zoom out and look at the rest of Texas. And as you can see, they're getting a little bit worse. Over in Amarillo and El Paso, they've gotten all the way up into the 90s, and we thought we had it bad here. But let's go ahead and look at the rest of our forecast for the week. And as you can see, we're going to be trending with warmer temperatures up through the rest of this week and the weekend, but starting Monday, we can expect to get a cold front coming in with high of 74, low of 53 on Monday, getting a little bit warmer on Tuesday with a high of 80 and a low of 56, carrying through those same temperatures on Wednesday, and then Thursday back down into the 70s. So all I can say is that you might want to take advantage of this cool temperature coming next week as we head into the beginning of October and go get yourself a pumpkin spice latte. That's all I have for weather. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jordan. Yesterday, the city of Denton experienced a security breach involving several online resources. While the city does not believe that any resident information was leaked, they have suspended some resources until further notice. The suspended resources include online municipal court payments and records, search and the online police reporting and handheld citation devices. Any resident looking to make a payment can head down to City Hall East on Hickory Street, and for any non-emergency situations, you can call 940-349-8181.
If you're looking for the perfect place to get a taste of some cowboy culture, then Fort Worth's newest attraction may have just what you're looking for. Our very own North Texas road trip anchor Nomi Sanchez tells us more.
Yes, Michaela, although COVID-19 has led to the closing down of many attractions, that did not stop Fort Worth Stockyards from opening its newest addition to the area. Let's take a look.
This new renovation to the Stockyards is sure to keep tourism alive. Having opened in June of this year, Mule Alley is set to become Fort Worth's newest spot for dining and retail. Despite being open during a difficult time for tourism, Vice President of Marketing Mitch Wooden states the timing could not have been better. Refurbishing this old area was not easy, though. According to the Vice President of Retail Development, Craig Cavalier, Mule Alley is built on old farms from 1912, which originally housed mules and horses. So far, it has cost up to $5 million to turn this area into venues that will support the buildings while preserving the old brick, giving the Stockyards a touch of modernism while keeping the city's authentic heritage present. Apart from the struggle, many residents also went against the renovation, fearing this would destroy the culture and tradition maintained in the old town. Despite the negative feedback, Cavalier expresses he believes redevelopment of the area is the best route to preserve the history of the Stockyards, and according to visitors, Mule Alley is doing just that.
You've got plenty of new retail going on in an area that was already doing some pretty good stuff with the tourist industry in Fort Worth, and it's new, but it still fits in with the surrounding area that, as we know, as the Stockyards.
Some notable restaurants and stores in Mule Alley are the Biscuit Bar, Pro Vendor Hall, Clay Pigeon, and Shake Shack. Although this area has yet to open all its stores, this alley is sure to give people a touch of the Western culture living deep in the heart of Fort Worth.
Apart from this, a 200-room Marriott hotel is expected to accompany this area in 2021, making this the perfect place for a roundabout trip.
Thank you, Nomi. Now, I don't know about you, Edison, but I love seasonal fall foods. For any fans of pumpkin spice out there, we have a special mac and cheese tree just for you.
Talking of surprising fun, we also have a story about a giant robot in Japan. Stay with us after the break. City Council in Berkeley, California unanimously passed the Healthy Checkout Ordinance. Berkeley will become the first city in California and maybe the nation to ban junk food from grocery store checkout aisles. The only items allowed at checkout lines will be those with 5 grams or less of added sugar and less than 250 milligrams of sodium per serving. That means things like protein bars instead of candy and no more soft drinks. Enforcement is scheduled to start January 2022. With pumpkin spice lattes, muffins, and cookies, pumpkin spice is everywhere. And if you still haven't had enough, you can now get pumpkin spice mac and cheese. Yep, you heard me right, pumpkin spice mac and cheese. Thanks to Kraft, you can get a box of dry macaroni and pumpkin spice flavor powder along with the classic cheese powder. It also comes with cinnamon and a coffee cup. However, there's a catch. If anyone wanting a box will need to add their name to a wait list and only 1,000 people will get it. To make matters even worse, it's only available in Canada. While pumpkin spice haters may be rejoicing, some are sure to be sad about missing out.
A giant robot showed off its moves during a test in Japan. The robot is based on a character from the classic Gundam anime series. The robot can be seen walking and kneeling in a video posted on Twitter Monday. It stands nearly 60 feet high and weighs 24 tons. According to the company that created it, more than 200 pieces made from a mixture of steel and carbon fiber reinforced plastic were used to build it. The project has been in the works since 2014. The robot was supposed to be featured at the Gundam factory Yokohama in October 2020. However, it was delayed due to the coronavirus pandemic. Well, no robots in sports, but I have to say it's a little more fun than being a Texas sports fan right now. Zach, what about you?
Right you are, Michaela. It has been an unbelievable roller coaster ride for DFW sports in the span of only a week. Updates on UNT football, the Dallas Stars, and a local success story looks for another championship run. I'll have details when we return.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
Up with the University of Houston. The news was released by UNT late Wednesday afternoon between student athletes, coaching staff, and inner personnel. The Mean Green have a total of 4 positive tests for COVID-19. UNT has had testing 3 times a week every week since August. Details on who the 4 individuals are is uncertain. The University of Houston has crossed this bridge too many times this season, to the point where the Cougars have yet to take a snap. Houston's original opener versus Rice University was canceled along with the team's second game against Washington State, with teams opting out of the 2020 season. Houston's third game with Memphis was set to be played before the Tigers and to postpone the conference game due to a slew of positive tests. Houston then scheduled against Baylor until Baylor had contact tracing issues that left a few players out. Finally, UNT with 4 cases. UNT now looks forward to Southern Miss on October 3rd. It has been 280 days since the Denton Ryan Raiders have stepped onto the football field to compete for a championship title. Denton Ryan will have an opening game against Martin High School. The only key aspect is that all of the Raiders games will be at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, a young football player's dream. Ironically, AT&T Stadium was where Denton Ryan took their last snaps in last year's 5A state championship game against Shadow Creek, where the Raiders' road to perfection was squandered 28-22. The Raiders went 15-1 in the 2019 season and are no stranger to championship lights. Denton Ryan has advanced to state a stunning 13 times since the year 2000. 14 is in their sights. Kickoff is this Friday at 4. The Dallas Stars battled in Game 3 last night in Edmonton against the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Lightning capitalized on Dallas turnovers and Dallas penalties from the first puck drop. The main story of the game is the Lightning's captain, Steven Stamkos, has been awaiting an NHL return for 7 months. On his first shift, Stamkos delivered a big hit as well as scoring a goal on his first shot. Talk about a comeback. The Lightning take down the Stars 5-2 and now have the series lead 2-1 as both sides await Game 4 Friday at 8. That concludes news from the sports world. Michaela and Edison, back to you.
Thanks, Zach. Now, Halloween is almost here, and while going house to house might not be an option this year, a production team in Las Vegas is making sure things aren't a total bust. The team is creating a drive-through attraction they call Halloween. Alexis Georgie has more on the story.
Creating a haunt experience that people can enjoy safely from their car.
And you're going to drive into a pod area, which is going to look like a desolate,
post-apocalyptic, demilitarized zone.
The Halloween terror season is fast approaching, but this year, traditional trick-or-treating and haunted houses are off the table. So a group of entertainment producers here in the Las Vegas Valley came together to start Halloween.
And as you can see behind us, this is our Soul Snatcher. It's kind of our mascot, if you will, for the Trapped scenario.
A production team gathering people from all areas of entertainment to create Trapped.
Entertainment isn't only who you see on stage, but it's the lights and stage production created behind the scenes that make it all come to life.
And what that was designed to do was to help the techs and entertainers of this industry here that have basically been out of work since the shutdown happened.
Emiliano Palumbo, co-creator of Trapped, says a portion of the proceeds from the event will go to a community nonprofit, Backstage Hope.
And with those proceeds, we're hoping to start basically like a small scholarship fund to be able to actually give funds directly back to people that are, frankly, about to lose their apartments or have to put food on the table.
Starting October 8th, Trapped will bring the scaries to the industrial event space on Sahara until October 31st.
This has really been a labor of love and something that we wanted to do, not something we had to do.
40 entertainers are racing against the clock, coordinating a world of digital and practical effects to bring the Las Vegas Valley an alternative Halloween experience.
To see what we do and to know that we're still here, that we're not going anywhere. We'll do whatever we can to create entertainment for people.
In Las Vegas, Alexis Gorey, News 3.
Well, Michaela, sounds like we'll have to take a road trip this year to partake in Halloween.
And I cannot wait for my first pandemic road trip.
Thanks for watching ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow night at 6 here on North Texas Television.